Welcome back to 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is the Patriot Fan Zone. As you can see, we're doing things a little bit differently. We're talking volleyball instead of football. Not because Joe Sexton didn't want to be here. He told me that it was time to pass the torch to the coach who's kind of made it hard for all the other coaches at Liberty. I tease you about that, but every time I talk to one of them, they're like, what's Katelyn doing, winning all these games so quick? Which I guess you can't apologize for that.
No, not ever going to apologize for that.
Katelyn Anderson, second year Liberty volleyball coach. Abby Dallas, like old junior. It's weird to call you old, but since I've known you since you were like 13 or 14 as a freshman basketball player, two very important pieces of the Liberty program, which is on a very hot streak right now. Is it 4 in a row?
4 in a row.
And it's not just 4 in a row, it's the who.
Yes.
It's Randall, Hereford, Friendship, and Monterey. Mm-hmm. What has gotten into your girls? Because you built this schedule to be more challenging, and they got through the challenging part, and now they're killing it right now. Yeah,
they're doing a great job. We've been pushing pretty hard in practice, and just kind of knowing that our preseason is our just our big fight. When we got our district, it's not that we were upset, but we wanted to kind of go north. Honestly, we wanted to be pushed a little bit. So when we booked up our preseason pretty tough, and I think when everybody saw our schedule, they're like, Katelyn, what are you doing? But these girls have handled it. I mean, every single game has been a fight. We got to learn, pretty quick last year that these girls had to learn to be varsity athletes on their own. And I think, we hit maybe, I would say in our Glen Rose tournament, we hit that I didn't have to say that to these girls anymore. They know how to be varsity athletes. They know how to push. They know how that every single team that we're going to play, they have to give everything they have. It's not no varsity team is going to hand you a game. I'm not saying that the JV level that they do that as well, but you can choke a little bit. These varsity teams don't do that. And these girls have just learned to handle pressure a little bit better, and we struggled with it at the beginning. But we've talked about that a lot. We've talked about, we have to practice deeper. And so they're doing a great job.
It's been fun to watch you guys from the start and just continue to grow. And Abby, something Coach said there, last year when you guys were freshmen and sophomores, teams wanted to beat you because you were freshmen and sophomores. They were older girls, and they were like, we can't let freshmen and sophomores beat you, which you guys still won a lot of matches. This year now, you've kind of inherited that stigma that, especially in Lubbock, that Lubbock, Cooper, and Friendship have, that they want to beat you because you're Liberty. Mm-hmm. How, as you guys have kind of matured and gotten, as Coach said, gotten tougher minded, how have you kind of grown into that, I guess?
Something we talk about is trying to make a name for ourselves, because we're not as known as like Cooper or Friendship. So
you're getting there though.
Yeah. Yes. So it's really cool to go into games and like just give it our all and not let our age, because we're still only to juniors, so not let that be an excuse. And yeah.
See, I promised you guys I would stop bringing that up. You're, like you said, you're an old junior now. When we met, before you ever started your sophomore year, I remember Coach saying you had to go from being a carefree freshman on that state runner-up basketball team where you got to just wear a uniform and jump up and cheer, to all of a sudden you had to be one of the leaders. She's not your only leader. You guys have a lot of girls who have really embraced that part of being a varsity player. Kind of talk about Abby and some of those other girls.
Yeah, we're really blessed because each junior, even sophomores that were on varsity last year, they all have a different way of leading. And it's really, I always talk about like we need to be a puzzle, and sometimes we're missing some puzzle pieces, and we have been for a little bit, but I think our puzzle is getting close to being really like complete, I guess. Abby is a girl that I told her today that we always need Abby Dallas on the team. She holds the team accountable. She holds herself accountable. You never find a practice where she's not holding herself accountable. Sometimes she's a little bit too hard on herself. She holds me accountable. I get, it's just me in the gym. I don't have an assistant in there, so I'm, entering balls and then running the drill, trying to do the whiteboard on our stats, and we're trying to keep up with everything. And I lose track of what's going on, and every single time Abby knows what's going on, and we love to have that. So yeah, she leads. Her IQ is for the game is just awesome, just like it is probably in the basketball world. But we have Campbell Beeler. She's another outsider. She's kind of been playing some outside and some oppo, and some defense right now. And she's a player that just has a lot of hunger. She will do anything in her power for that ball not to hit the floor. And a lot of when we play teams like that, that's what they say about her.
She was the district MVP last year.
She was the district MVP last year, yeah. And then we Maddie Hyder, both of my middles, they are doing a phenomenal job. Their eye work. They lead the team with just getting touches on the swings that we have that's happening. I mean, we're playing friendship, and we have Hadley
Welch.
Oh my goodness, she's got some power, and so we just going in with them. I was like, we have to get touches, no matter. It doesn't have to be a block; it just has to be a touch. And our middles did everything in their power to do that, and they help us out tremendously. They one of them's one of our captains, and then Maddie might as well be, because she's leads and holds the team accountable. Just she does an awesome job, and I can
We've got half an hour. So
yeah. Okay. Perfect.
We're coming up on a break, so we'll talk about it in a minute. But Abby, something that Ava Hounshell, writer for my website, mentioned in her story is that Coach talked about how she's challenged you guys a little bit more in practice. You've gotten to run a little bit more, which I know you have to be in great shape to play volleyball, but the running part, how's that gone over? Has that?
It's not always our favorite, but it's there to push us. So like when we're competing in drills, like nobody wants to run. So we're going to push each other and try to win. But the more like we do it, the more we get used to it. So she's had to drop the time down a little bit, so it makes it harder, but it's been going good.
I told Taylor Reed, the coach that was in here from Lubbock Cooper a minute ago, ask if he knew you. And I think we just got cut off. Oh, no, we're back. I told Taylor that Katelyn is a football coach in a volleyball coach's body, because watching her, the way you described that's like old school stuff. That's what I had to do as a football player way back a long time ago. Trying to see if we're coming up on a break or if we're still. I'll just keep talking until they tell us to stop talking. So we've talked about the hot streak recently. Coming up on another pretty good opponent. Next week, you get a little bit of a chance to get ready. Now we're going to take a break, and we'll come back and talk more Liberty Volleyball on the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. Welcome back to the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. I'm with Liberty Volleyball coach Katelyn Anderson and junior Abby Dallas, and I hope people can still hear us. We're just going to keep talking anyway. I've gotten to know Katelyn. We can talk just almost as much as Joe Sexton and I can talk.
Oh, good.
Have you watched it when Joe's been on here with me?
Every now and then.
So,
yeah.
Like Joe and I are these two old guys who'll just start talking about like everything but football and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Click back and talk. And Joe's like that anyway. I mean, Joe's like talking to you. That's going to sound wrong if I say he's like talking to your grandpa. Because Chip Darden will feast on that if I say it. So, no, Joe's only a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
So, and he's a good dude. And he hired really good coaches.
He did.
And you're one of them. Mm-hmm. And not to make you blush or anything. Just a little bit of background on Katelyn. You played at Lubbock Cooper for, who was your coach?
Courtney Pesterfield.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Who's still around.
Yeah,
and
she's
whose
principal.
Daughter is a pretty good two-sport player.
Yes.
Volleyball and softball, which seems like a unique mix.
Yeah. She's. I've known Lydia since she was born.
Yep.
I got to actually coach Lydia last year, or
2 years
2 years ago, yeah. Which that was really cool, but it also made me feel really old. I didn't like it.
Oh, and you're not old. I think it was either you or Morgan Glaspie told me about feeling old, and you don't get to say that. You can say it to Joe, but not to me.
Okay.
You hit on something there, though, and we were talking in between. What's cool to me about volleyball coaches in Lubbock right now is you all are somewhat connected somehow.
Yeah.
When the Godfather came back, Mike Moffitt came back,
yeah.
but you played for Candy Stevens.
No, I coached her daughter.
You coached her daughter.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I knew it was some sort of connection. So
Yeah.
what's cool is you guys have to, when you're coaching against somebody who you know and knows you, do you have to kind of think differently because you know they're going to be ready for different things you like to do?
Oh yeah, like I said, Mike Moffitt he's kind of like a second dad to me. Honestly, he's been there for me for a really long time. He taught me a lot as a setter when I played, and I take a lot what he coached me, and I coach my setters the same way. So we smile anytime our setters dump on each other. We both give each other a good little look, and he's an awesome coach, and I've learned a lot from him. He's mentored me through becoming a head coach, and when he got the Cooper job, it was a full circle. Honestly, he came from Amarillo High, and Carly now is at Randall, and I'm at Liberty, and so it's just one big. Honestly, a lot of these coaches in the Lubbock, Shallow-Water area is we've all coached at the same club together, and so we're each other's biggest fans. Honestly,
I like what Mike says is he wants his team to win all the time, but he wants everybody else's team to win as long as they're not playing him.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And Abby, you kind of have a perspective on that too because you've played for really good coaches. I keep calling you an old junior, but you're still really young. You've played for Kyle Lovern. You've played for. Was Dana? Did you dabble in varsity volleyball or no?
No.
Okay, but you know Coach Dana.
Yes.
You've got Coach Katelyn now. You've got Coach Morgan. So you ever sit back as somebody as young as you are and realize I'm getting a really good coaching in two different sports?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's cool because they've all been like through what we're going through, and so like they have a different perspective on it, but they also know how to coach us from our perspective and just win.
You're a pretty low-key, even-keeled young lady. You're not coached by even-keeled coaches. And I'm saying that to be nice. I've told Morgan this. If had when I was younger, I would have loved to play for somebody like Morgan because there's no mystery about what she expects from you, and I think Katelyn's the same way. How much does that push you and kind of motivate you?
A lot, actually. I would say both Coach Anderson and Coach Glaspie are really competitive like me, and it's just like they have a high standard, which I like, and as a coach or having a coach with a high standard, and it's just like good for competing because we want to win.
Katelyn, I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but there's always a difference going from being a sub-varsity coach to varsity because you sort of have to be the good cop a lot. And you, the folks you coached with, I think you probably were the good cop for a couple of years. That's not really an option when you get to be the head coach. You have to be mom, dad, disciplinarian, psychologist, all of that. In your second year, how much have you kind of grown into that, do you feel like? Yeah,
I struggled with it. I'm not going to lie, for a little bit. Like you said, it's the JV coach in you, knowing that the varsity coach does have to be, not necessarily the bad cop, but they make the big decisions. Yep. And at the end of the day, it's, everybody wants to go win. It's not all about winning, and I'm very competitive, and I will say that it is not all about winning. But, that's usually what makes not only the players, but the coach and the parents happy. And, one thing Coach K told me a while back is, you're not always going to be the good person.
Right.
And I was like, oh, no, not me. And I learned it. It was tough, and I didn't like that even one thing was said bad about me. But I learned that, like you can't please everybody.
No.
And
We're going to talk about something that happened last year that's still one of my favorite moments when we come back on the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 FM.
It was tough. I didn't like it. And one thing was said.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Patriot Fan Zone, final segment of the high school fan zone of the week. Before we jump back in and talk volleyball, I'm going to run through the football broadcast schedule to make sure we get that out for folks that know. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, Monterey heads down to Odessa. It takes on Odessa High on 93.7 The Eagle, 6:30 pregame show, 7 p.m. kickoff. Friday night, busy night. Coronado is at home against Abilene Cooper at 4 p.m. at Lowry Field on 96.9 The Bull. Pregame at 3:45, kickoff at 4. Friendship and Lubbock Cooper in the game of the week, sometimes tends to be the game of the year. That is on two stations, right here on 100.7 The Score, and then on 97.3 Double T, 97.3 6:30 pregame show on both. Liberty Patriots still looking for that first win. You guys need to get them some good mojo.
okay.
They go to Seminole, which is not going to be easy. I think Seminole's ranked number 5 in the state in 4A Division II. That's on 93.1 Yes FM, pregame at 6:30, kickoff at 7. And then Idalou takes on Odessa Compass Academy, 6:30 p.m. pregame, 7 p.m. kickoff on Sunny 97.7 FM. It's a lot of football on Friday nights. I like the fact that you guys, you may not like it. I saw you, your very first football game, you were on the sideline.
Yes.
So, and you're young, so you're not that far removed from enjoying Friday nights. But when you get into district, which is week after next, Tuesday and Saturday. So you guys steer clear of that Friday night spotlight a little bit, and you get folks coming out to your games. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Liberty's we're one big happy family. We like we want to stay that way. The football coaches come and support us. All the coaches go and support him. We are at basketball games. We've told each other that we want our culture to stay true, and so we all love to support each other, win or lose. We're each other's biggest fans. So
it's going to be fun to watch at Friendship as well when their new school opens. Just how quickly you guys become that little country school to now you're a little bit bigger, and then probably in a few years, Abby, you'll be in college. You won't have to worry about this.
Yeah.
Probably will be a 5A. Just keep growing. That's kind of the way of the world. So I mentioned before we went to break, and now I feel bad that I mentioned it because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but Katelyn, I became a big fan of Katelyn, the coach and the person, probably the third or fourth time I ever watched them play. And some things got a little bit unruly in the stands, and she fixed it. And you gained my respect. I'm pretty sure I've told you that a few times. That kind of goes back to Coach's fire. She's going to fight for her. She's like a mama bear with her cubs. She's going to fight for you guys no matter what, whether it's whoever it is. You guys realize that right away, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. How cool is that to play for a coach that's that passionate about you, not just to coach you?
It's really good in games to know that she has our back, so that like when calls aren't going our way and stuff like that, like we're gonna fight for each point and win each point.
So one thing I've learned about volleyball is there's always one player that you send over to talk. Is there one person every match, or is that something you kind of split up?
I don't do a great job of that. I end up yelling over them anyway. I'm trying to do better, but it's usually our captains. Actually, it's not usually. It is our captains. So it's the 3 people that come up and talk and flip the coin and stuff. That's just something that volleyball does. Is we are not allowed to yell at the ref. We have to get our kids to go. So sometimes I tell Abby to go say some things, and she probably does a great job of not wording it the way that I did it.
She's got the perfect personality to do it.
She does. So, yeah.
Well, we're winding down here, but I want to mention you guys, I don't know if we mentioned it or not. Next up is Bushland, which you guys played last year at least once, right?
Yeah, twice.
I mentioned this in Ava's story. They ended your season, and they went on to win state in 3A. So that's the next big challenge. You guys are playing really well. That gets you before you go into district. And next time we have you on, we'll talk, because you'll be into district by then. We'll talk a little bit more. But this, if you're a volleyball fan, or if you're not a volleyball fan, go out and watch the Liberty Lady Patriots, because it took me a while to understand volleyball when I got here, but now I know what I'm watching, I think, sort of. And they're very fun to watch. Still young, except for old junior Abby Dallas. This is Randy Rosetta with 100.7 FM. That's been the Patriot Fan Zone.